right, I'd like to call this meeting to order, the Ware Cemetery Advisory Committee at 6:32.
Is your mic on?
Turn it on. It is now. Do I repeat myself?
Yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Ware Cemetery Advisory Committee at 6:33. Will you share me, stand with me to pledge allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the list there is any public comments. Next there is to review, approve the minutes of the February 26, 2025 meeting of the Cemetery Trustee Advisory Committee.
They did have a few changes.
By the way, our meeting says zoning board of adjustment. I don't know if there's anything you can control on that. It just popped up on YouTube.
No, if I turn it off to fix it, it's going to go away completely.
Yeah, I noticed that it's often,
I did
Dispatch.
click on the cemetery thing. I'll need to check it afterward to make sure it hasn't been renamed inadvertently or something.
yeah,
But if I try and correct it now, I can't get it to reconnect.
okay.
That's a known,
Problem.
no, I don't know if it's a problem, but
Feature.
it's a feature, yes. Thank you for letting me know.
You ready?
I am.
Right.
Did you make a motion yet or no?
No, Janice,
No,
Janice has
I
got-
have a couple
she had
questions.
a couple questions, comments like
Okay,
that.
you can make a motion or you don't have to, you can either order.
Yeah, under the meeting minutes, we did two sets, and the second set said the same took place for the meetings of January 15th and 29th, or I guess we did three sets. I would prefer to see the motion and vote for everything that we did, because every motion should be explicitly stated.
Which section?
Two?
Section 2, meeting minutes.
Oh, in the minutes, I'm sorry. Okay, so
It needs to be-
break it out.
Yeah, it needs to be broken out.
Unless we did them all together, but I'm pretty
I don't
certain.
think we did.
No, we did them separately.
No, we did them separate.
Like that.
Yeah, I was just rushing probably. I can,
I don't think I brought them back with me. I think they're on the
yeah, I can be
folder.
more explicit. They were all the same motion and seconds, so I'll just,
That's correct.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
And on the, item 3, review the 2016 rules regulations, the last bullet, I did volunteer to type it, and I did type it, but I said I would distribute it to Tom, not to everybody. And Tom was gonna send it out with all the other documents.
Okay,
Tom has it.
I have not done yet. I apologize. That will probably be this weekend.
That's all right.
Okay,
And I had a question on number 5, lot burial limits. This first bullet says, New Hampshire state RSA's do not specify any limits, but some town cemetery regulations do. I believe we were not talking specifically about where, we were talking about other towns, because we don't.
we
That's
don't.
correct.
So if someone were to look at this, they might think we're talking about our cemetery records, regulations. So I would like to have the term other inserted in there, but some other town cemeteries. Or something that
okay. Some
doesn't lead you to think we're talking about
Right.
other regulations and where.
other town cemetery regulations do.
Mm.
Got it. Okay.
And on number 7, we said we were gonna adjourn the next work session at 6:30 because there's a 7 o'clock meeting in this room. That's all I have.
Thank you.
No, I agree, yeah. And that's how I had shared it with the town administrator like that.
Yeah, I did check
On the
the
calendar, it's 4 to
meeting-
6:30,
meeting
because I knew
posted.
there was meetings after, so it was,
Nobody's gonna panic that we're
yep.
gonna overlap meetings, so
Oh.
We should be able to-
if we run a little late, we're not up against,
This
Another
is
meeting.
for the work session?
yeah, the
Yeah.
19th.
correct.
Yeah, we're gonna leave at 6, they're gonna end at 6:30.
And at 6:30.
It's getting in at 6:30 instead of
Or
7
as
p.m.
close to 6:30 as possible.
Yeah, close, yeah,
Gotcha.
thereabouts. Or no later than 6:30.
Yeah, I
guess
just
is
don't
what
want
it comes
the,
down to.
I think it's either energy or ethics is in here, I can't remember which.
Yeah, at 7 they come in.
It's all right,
Didn't we say we might go upstairs?
yeah. I mean, we could go up, we can go upstairs to do it, it's a work session. Could
Yeah,
give us
but
another
we're just
15
gonna
or
have to
20 minutes.
Go back and forth with documents if you're pulling stuff in and out of the,
But it's also the
Yeah,
same
so-
night as the historical.
Historical
Society.
Society meeting is that
Okay.
night too.
You'd have to leave early.
So I'd have to leave 10 of, quarter of anyway in there
That's why
somewhere.
I kinda,
okay.
that's why I
Left
made,
it
that's
this
why
time.
when I asked for it, I asked for 6:30 instead of 7, because
Yeah.
I knew there was just issues at the end.
And
So I will make a motion to approve the minutes if no one else has any
Yeah,
changes.
make motion.
As amended.
Second,
Mike seconded it.
all right, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
as amended,
Yep, it's recommended.
Janice Matthews, Mike Zingowitz.
These were the minutes of March 6th. Oh, sorry, yeah, February 26th.
February 26th.
February 26th.
Um, The other thing is, if we do go upstairs, we are, maybe somebody said this, but they're closing at 7, so we'd have to come down at quarter of anyways.
I know, it doesn't really do, buy us much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's why 6:30 works, so I think.
Maybe the next time we have a work session, not have it on the same night as the Historical Society, and then we can,
Oh,
or it'd be less complicated if we ran
Sure.
over. That's all.
I think somebody had brought up the Wednesday before, but that didn't work, so that's why we ended up being on
Yeah.
it's probably me.
Yeah, on the 19th.
I think I couldn't come.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm pretty flexible.
That was March 19th, yeah, okay.
Next on the agenda there is to review, discuss New Hampshire RSA 289 and 290. Chapter 289, like that, covers cemeteries, burials, and dead bodies.
Speaking of these two documents, on April 8th, Terry Knowles is going to be doing a program for the New Hampshire Cemetery Association. And, you know, I don't know if it would be worth it that some of us, at least some of us attend.
I'm not sure, I didn't look at the, I guess the attachments to that email like that, whether there's a fee for the
It-
luncheon and, well, I
I
don't know
don't
what
think there's
membership
any
was either.
fee, but I think it's $20 for us, per person to join, and I would hope that the town would pick the tab up.
Well, I think you sent something out, can we talk about that in,
We can do that when we get down to other
Yeah, it's-
business,
Yeah.
but,
The different item.
yeah. So,
I think this is what you're talking about?
Mm,
At least the membership.
mm.
when I looked at this, one of the things that I came across there is, it's on the second page down at the bottom there, it's, section 5 that talks about cemetery records. And it said, such records shall be also kept of every private burial site within the municipality by the owner of the land containing the burial site, and a copy of the information shall be supplied to the cemetery trustees who maintain the municipal records of such sites. And I think we have, most of those sites have been documented. I think when you look at the spreadsheet we had started with back in the fall like that, there's a few that we don't have. And I know there's some concern of those residents that those sites that it's on their property, that there's, needs to be a level of privacy and not so much confidentiality, privacy, and I have to agree with that, but,
Yeah, and I think there is, information in here about trespassing.
That's section 14.
yeah.
Yeah, I have some notes on that.
Um,
This is about records.
This is just records.
Yeah, this is under cemetery records like that. I know we were trying to, compile right down to like GPS locations and everything else. And I know there's a few out there that I have a general idea where they're at, but I don't know exactly where they're at like that. So it would be something that we want to add to that, so we have a complete record there that we can upload. And this is kind of hit or miss, and it's a challenge here. It's because whoever does the tax maps, the last sentence in that section there talks about the location of each cemetery and private burial. So it just says may, it doesn't say it has to. Annotated on the municipal tax map. And I found that some are and some aren't like that. It's kind of hit or miss
Right.
like that, so.
I put a lot on when I was working in assessing office.
Mhm. So. But that mention there, like I said, it just says may, so it's not a
Exactly.
requirement like that. It says, you
Yeah.
know, if we could do that like that, so. I mean, it did come in handy for me. That's how I found the Mudgett Cemetery that's off of Helen
That's the
Dearborn.
one I put on,
They
yeah.
put that on there. I mean, that helped me pinpoint to where it was like
Yeah.
that, so I could find it like that.
I think it's probably a good idea, though, because the tax maps identify the owner of the land. And I think that's like the golden reference for that, right? Like, you know, so a cemetery on somebody's property, that little square has the town of Ware on it when you look it up online. Most of them,
Right.
you know. I think that information comes from the tax maps, like I get it from a couple of applications and mapping applications and you click on it, it says town of Ware. I'm guessing the tax map says that as well, that's where it comes from, but do we want to verify that for
I
all the
want
cemeteries?
to strongly say that tax maps are not always accurate,
Yeah,
okay?
mm,
They do the best they can from deeds and so forth, but some of them that go way back with the deeds, they've had to guess at some. So we can't look at a tax map and say, yeah, this is exactly accurate.
okay,
You really need to get a deed and read the deeds. And I did start doing that for some of the cemeteries in town that we've been looking at, pulling up the deeds, seeing what the deeds say, whether they're over to the town of Ware or whether they're just
Still private.
on there or there's nothing said at all. So I'll continue that when I get some time.
and this is at the county registrar of
The
deeds?
Registry of Deeds in
yeah.
Nashua, yep.
Yep. I think, you know, like the Collins Cemetery, somebody thinks it's private, tax map says town of Ware, who really knows, like, you know,
Well, I
Well-
started to look into that too.
yeah,
Because I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
And going back through, looking at the old town reports, they gave money to Collins Cemetery back and forth and back. So
so you
the
mean they
town
spent
did pay a lot of stuff
to,
there.
to maintain it?
Yes.
Yeah,
And they're paying now to mow it and
Yeah.
take care of it,
Right.
Yeah.
so, I mean, I know that, we've been told it's definitely private, but
I mean,
don't know.
the person who owns that land would have a deed where it should be annotated on their deed, the cemetery,
It only has to be annotated if they sell the property.
not,
If they've not sold the property
well,
or
if they bought it,
transferred the property.
if they bought it during a sale, then it might be on the seller's
Right.
deed, right?
But if they're still the original owner, it might
Yeah.
not be there. That was my
Right.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, that could happen,
Yeah.
if it's, their ownership is older than the cemetery,
Right,
then you'd have to find a transfer to the town of Ware to say that it's not private.
that it's legal, right? They can't just say, well, they own it, they've been putting money into it.
Unless there's been a declaration of abandonment, but I've never heard that discussed, so.
No.
And it hasn't been neglected for 20 years, because it's been maintained.
I mean, we put probably 35,000 into that wall up there.
Mm.
And that was back probably about 10 years ago,
Mm.
I'm guessing. Because I remember I went up and took photographs, they were up there working.
Yeah, it's one of those things that kind of not irks me, but it kind of bothers me in the back of my head that we don't have definitive evidence of who owns each of those plots around town within somebody else's property. Johnson and East Ware probably, and Pine Grove excluded from that, but, my guess. So anyways, I wish I had more time to do that with you.
Yeah,
It's tedious.
Well, we can, as we get the information, put that on the master spreadsheet. At least we'll know what we know what we don't know, or as far as verification.
Yeah, I don't know that we have verification of any of them,
But as we're,
as,
yeah,
Yeah.
as we're looking them up, we can certainly record that.
yep. Were there any, on section 5, your comments, was there anything that needs to be recorded in the minutes there, any statement, or just thinking out loud? Or?
It's pretty much just thinking out loud like that. I mean, it's just something that I think that, we need to consider at some point in time like that. I mean, it's not something we can rush out there right now. We've still got quite a bit of snow and it's winter like that, so, but I think
But I was thinking by the time we meet next month, we might be able to start.
we might be able to, yeah, we might be able to.
Find the Beans Cemetery.
I hope that it gets found,
Which one?
being,
The Bean.
Oh, yeah.
oh,
It's just that, I said I went in and we turned, to the left and walked back out towards 77, but, it's so many years ago, I can't remember exactly.
well, and if you go out there today, there's been a lot of logging or
Right, and it's
activity
probably
done,
brush
so
and stuff
Oh, yeah.
down, and we may not find it.
That's why I say I hope it gets found.
All right.
I was surprised how much activity had been through there when we walked out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
I,
wasn't expecting that.
yeah, and I
It's
haven't
fairly
been,
recent.
out.
Yeah.
10 years.
Probably-
Oh, and you figure that was
probably
what?
less than 5.
It's like 1792, 1793, so, when you're looking at almost, over 200 years like that, how many times it's probably been logged and it's changed like that they've cut trees and roads have changed direction and everything like that,
When
so it's,
somebody could have moved any of those boulders that were landmarks.
Oh, yeah,
It could have been moved.
easily.
oh, yeah. Especially if you have heavy equipment out there, it's nothing for them.
That thing's in the way.
But I mean, Judy and I went down to the White Cemetery, which is just a single headstone, and we went down there, 2 years ago in the fall. We went back in the spring and the headstone was gone. So somebody went in there and took the headstone.
oh, is that on South Stark?
Across from near where you
Oh,
live,
yeah, down
yeah?
Riley, yeah, it's gone.
Oh,
Because
that-
I've
we
walked
walked
in,
out
couldn't
there,
find
right?
it either,
Yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the times,
Yeah.
We went out in the fall and then we went back in the spring. And we saw the headstone, so we know it's there, but when we went back, it was gone. So, and we didn't discuss it anywhere, so somebody just ran across it, and decided to take it, I guess.
All right, we keep going through 289.
All right, the other one, I mean, this is just thoughts that I was looking at as I read through this there, and you go to section 289, it's section 6 there, it's on the third page, under cemetery trustees there, and it's, section 2. If we go through the first part there, it says every municipality shall elect a board of cemetery trustees consisting of 3 members. But that didn't happen. No one ran for the positions like that, and it talks about there that then the selectmen can become the cemetery trustees. But section 2, and this would be a conversation, actually, I guess, for the selectmen there, and I don't know all the duties and responsibilities of the town administrator. That section there says, any town that has a town manager form of government may vote to not have the cemetery trustees by delegating all of the duties and responsibility of cemetery trustees to the town manager as specified in RSA 289.
And that's
We
not
do
us.
not have a
Yeah,
town
we're
manager.
yeah, I was
2A.
gonna say, yeah, no.
No,
Notice
they're
the
very
town
distinct and-
administrator.
Very
so
different,
it's-
yeah, very different.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking town manager was just a difference on wording between administrator and manager.
no.
Goffstown is a town manager, for
Okay.
example. They hire somebody who does probably 3/4 of what the selectmen do here.
Right, so, okay, so you could forget that one.
Yeah,
then,
we're,
so.
we're
Good
2A.
thought, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
get
Well,
the,
I realize the amount of work that the selectmen do, being on all these other committees too like that. I mean, it's considerable amount like that. And it's a lot that they do, I understand, but it's,
yeah.
Yeah, we're 2A. Although, I guess we're 2A. We don't have a town meeting, we're SB2. SB one is a town meeting, so I think that's a terminology issue. I think they mean SB one and SB two combined in 2A, is my guess. We have deliberative and an election, and that's SB two. SB one is town meeting. So, traditional town meeting, which we no longer have here.
Right. Well, we always used to go to the town hall.
Yeah, so we're kind of
I
like,
think they're trying to distinguish between a town manager and just a regular,
Non-
regular
Town administrator.
town form of government.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
Which
We
we-
did vote in 2022,
Yeah.
it was Article 23.
right,
And that gave the duties to the select board.
selectmen, that's correct.
I guess SB two just has two portions to their town meeting, I guess.
Yeah,
Deliberative and vote. Election, so,
Janice, you just said they voted in 22, right?
yeah,
In March, and then,
it took a year before it was.
oh, a whole year,
I
was
believe-
it?
I believe,
20,
it
yeah.
went into effect in 23.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the board then.
I was.
That's the way I believe it went.
Yeah, I think you're right now, I think about that.
This will be the end of the second year of that.
Or maybe it was 90 days, I don't know. Maybe it's 90 because that's what's in this next.
Yeah,
one.
I think it was, because I think that summer, like in June, we started probing and stuff for burials over there at the,
Yeah, and
So-
then there's a couple other things that are years, so.
yeah.
I think this one, according to number B below 2A.
The fire wards were a number of days. No,
No, it was a year.
oh, it was? Oh, okay, so it's reversed. I was thinking the other way around, so, okay. So the trustees were 90 days, or something like that.
I
Yeah,
don't know what they really did, but according to this, I would think it would have been 90 days.
yeah, I think it was, because I think we were over there that summer in June, because we were, in May, actually, I think, because we were doing burials. We were over there probing, and I was on the board as selectman at that point.
So the fire wards existed for another year, and then they disbanded the following March.
Yeah, yeah, they disbanded a year later, yeah.
Then the trustees were definitely the opposite of that.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because there weren't any.
There weren't anybody, nobody to do it, yeah,
And in that case, they weren't even elected,
right.
because nobody ran.
And it says 90 days here,
Yeah, that's why I said
Yeah,
yeah.
I may have just been thinking something else when I was saying a year. I said,
No.
after reading that, I would think it probably was 90 days, but I don't know what they really did.
And we don't have a municipal charter, section 4, that's just a third type of town government, or municipal government. There's town manager, there's town meeting, and then there's charter. It's a little different. So we're definitely section 2, and 3 would apply. Three is just to reverse what 2 does.
I didn't see anything else in there that I did, kind of, as I read through it, there's just kind of caught my attention like that, and just thought maybe there was something there that we could.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to put in your notes, anybody, that the 2022 article number 23. Just so we don't have to go look that up again.
2022,
Article 23.
I have a couple of comments about 289-14. While we're on 289.
which one? 14?
14, it's on page 5. So this was, some of this was new to me. So like, there's a couple cemeteries in town where the owner does not want to give right-of-way temporarily or otherwise for people to go on and look or do maintenance or record or whatever. I mean, this says that the selectman can issue a permit, may issue a permit. And I would think that in that case, you'd bring that property owner in to have a
Conversation.
discussion on the agenda. You know, they have a right to dictate where the right-of-way would be for people to go into the cemetery. And you have to do it in writing and all that. But I've seen notes on some cemetery trustee websites and documents that say, you gotta be very careful about doing that. There's been lawsuits in the past
Yeah,
about
we don't want that.
people, you know,
I thought you could only do that if you weren't sure who owned it or who was responsible for maintaining it. You couldn't find them or you couldn't.
the
locate
cemetery
them.
itself?
Yeah, who owned it. You're private, if it's on private, and you can't actually locate the owner to say, may I have permission?
Okay, so this says
Then you can
private,
go through all of those things to get the selectmen to do that. That's the way I interpreted it, but I've never actually done it.
this does say private burial ground in a couple places, so a town one would not be that, that would be a public. So this doesn't apply in the cases that we have public cemeteries that owners do not want anybody going in over their land. So this paragraph wouldn't apply to that.
Or it could apply to one, the opposite, the town owns it, the town has not been maintaining it,
And
and
they-
somebody wants to come in and do it. Could it be that?
That's a different section, I think. As I read the title again, this looks like private burial ground, so over private land to go into a private burial ground. I didn't see that distinction earlier. Which I think is a different case than what I'm thinking about. Because we're looking at trying to get a temporary right-of-way over private land to go into a public burial ground, assuming that is a public burial ground.
We don't know that.
We don't know. I mean, if the town owns it,
I
it's
surely,
public.
I don't know. Well,
Which one's that?
you're talking about the one off Low?
Yeah, the one that, I think, no.
Yeah, well, it's low, yeah.
Buxton.
In that
Francis
area.
David Buxton.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
the first thing to do is get the deed
And,
to the property.
Find out whether it's
And
public or
read
not.
it and see what it says.
It could be an easement, right?
It could be anything,
Yeah. It'll tell you who owns it, hopefully,
yeah, I mean, I can
yeah.
do that.
I think those cases plus the Collins would be like the priorities as far as proving
those
ownership.
two, yeah, probably those
Yeah.
two cemeteries would be good to clarify. Collins and,
So this only applies to private burial grounds then, so there's nothing in here that I saw about public burial grounds where you have to cross over private land. Doesn't seem to be anything referencing that.
Well, under 14-A, number 5, it just says no private landowner permitting access over his or her property to a burial ground for the purpose of voluntary maintenance or repair of the burial ground shall be held civilly liable for any breach of
Right.
resulting in injury, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
That's the only reference I see. It doesn't say that they have to grant it.
No.
It says that if they do, they're not
right,
Yeah,
liable if
permitting
something
access.
happens.
I just wonder
That
why,
might be a good question if you, anybody attends a training to ask or follow up.
yeah,
What are the official rules and or guidelines?
and that's where I read, and it was like a semi-official training document or something like that that
Yeah,
said,
we have the one that she presented to, I think in July.
yeah,
Um,
be very leery of
Yeah,
trying to grant rights of way or,
we can go back and look at that.
unless it's in a deed, then there's nothing they can do about it, but it's just tough, because some of these cemeteries we want to get in and maintain, but the owner of the land around it just doesn't want anybody there.
Yep.
yeah.
I did have a comment under 18 as well. Paragraph 1, the last sentence. All purchase contracts for burial spaces executed after August 7th, 1994 shall include a notice of that this procedure may be invoked in the future. I don't know that I've ever seen one of our purchase contracts. Do we have one? An example, a blank one, or do we know what it looks like? The question is this in there?
Janice, what one did you read? I know it's,
289-18,
yeah,
Section one,
number 1.
section 1, okay,
last,
sentence.
last two sentences,
okay.
oh yeah, last sentence. Basically says you have to have notice on there that says if it's neglected, it can be returned back to the town for the price.
So I think that's, sometime we gotta make sure that that's in there. I'm not suggesting it's not in there. It just, that seems very specific that I would wanna verify that it is in there. And again, I've not seen a purchase contract, so.
Yeah, is there any paperwork, Judy, that somebody had, when they're buying a lot, that they have to sign when they pay, or do they just pay it and get a receipt?
What, for a lot?
Yeah,
In a cemetery?
yeah. There's a contract of some type?
Well, you get a.
You get a
You
deed.
get the deed, but
Yeah.
there's no other paperwork, though,
No, well, yeah, you get a copy of the rules and regulations.
right? I wonder if that's the
where it needs
place,
to be.
yeah.
Maybe under the rules and regulations, if you have something stated in there. The problem is that today,
I don't recall
most,
seeing it in there
it's,
before, when we just went through them, I don't recall seeing
I
it.
don't remember that, yeah.
but that's not gonna be abandoned because it's the main cemeteries that we're dealing with most of the time.
But it says shall,
If they don't use it, I mean,
Shall.
they buy it, and 50 years goes by and they don't do anything with it.
it says shall. So, doesn't say maybe a good idea, it says shall.
It wasn't clear to me whether somebody could bury somebody there and just not put a marker or anything, that still constitutes the right of the town to take it back. Like,
What?
it doesn't say, it says, whenever spaces in a cemetery subject to this division have remained unused for a period of 50 years, okay, and the owner has not improved the space or spaces by causing a monument. So I guess unused would be burial. That would-
Right, yeah.
Yeah, burial,
But you can't sell a lot that somebody's buried in.
no, right, that was the point of
Yeah.
confusion for me.
I could see a case where this could happen though. Well, right now,
It's an and.
the only place that we have plot maps for though is Pine Grove, Johnson, and East Ware. So
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you if we were to go down to Collins there and say we have a space there that's unused or a
Right.
space available.
I have no clue.
No
But it
clue.
says, whenever a burial space, or burial space or spaces in any cemetery, it doesn't say private or public, subject to the provisions of subdivision have remained unused for a period of 50 years. When I went through some of the plot deeds like that, people were buying or have bought up to 6 plots. And it may be that, you know, a mother and a father, you know, or maybe the grandparents and the parents, but if the children move away, in theory, there could still be 2 plots that are left unused.
Or more.
Or more,
Exactly.
yeah.
Because back,
And they
years ago, they
decide
bought
to
big
go
plots.
somewhere else, or be buried somewhere else, or be cremated, and in theory, there could be 2 or more
You could
unused plots
take those
in
3.
that, and,
Yeah. Right. If it's over 50 years.
yeah, and over a period of time, it could be over 50 years.
As long as there's no family monument or gravestone on it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, this says unused and not improved
Right.
by causing a monument or, you know,
It says as long as there's not a family monument or something on it.
well, it's an and, so if you've used it and there's anything on there,
Right.
then it's nothing you can do there.
Right, but if you just have, say you bought 6, and you have a individual headstone on one,
Sure, okay, so a lot area marker, like a family,
family,
But there's only 2 people in it and it holds 6 people.
but the marker, I would think, is
if it's a six,
centered around all
Centered.
6.
it's a 6-space lot, then there's a monument on it.
Yeah.
If it's not assigned to an individual lot,
Yeah.
space.
I'm probably using the wrong term, but,
Yeah.
you know, the bigger thing that would have the M on it for me, you know, whatever, the family name.
Right.
So the question that we have is, I think, should we add this to the rules and regs? assuming that rules and regs are and it says those should be given out to everybody who buys a plot, so do the rules and regs, if we add that, because I don't think it's in there, but
No, it's not in there.
can that be considered like an attachment to the contract? You know, a valid attachment to the contract? It says the purchase contract shall include a notice. Do the rules and regs as a handout constitute that, is the question, I guess? Because it's not on the contract per se, there really is no contract, but that could be part of the contract. I'm thinking like a lawyer, but
Well,
kinda have to.
when you're dealing with law, you kind of have to think like something close to that.
I think we should add it anyways. Because apparently it's not written down it's not included in anything that anybody gets when they buy a lot,
That we know.
that we know of. Yeah, unless
I don't,
the,
It's leery of saying it's not, because I've never seen the purchase contract, so
yeah,
then maybe there is one.
maybe it says it on the deed.
Right.
Maybe there's a little,
Maybe there's a little thing that they write on every
Bottom.
one of them.
yeah. Should we add it anyways?
Well, ask Maureen to bring her deed in. She just purchased it in the last couple of years, see what's on her deed.
Yeah,
At least, and if there's nothing there, then you can say, should we be adding something to it?
I can ask Maureen, I'll come in and, I can come in tomorrow and ask her and, you know, because there's a copy in here. They have a copy of all the
Right,
plot deeds in
Yeah.
the town, so.
Yeah, but is there a different thing called a purchase contract? Could
Right.
also be a question.
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's was one thing I have, is there a contract when purchasing a plot? And I'll ask Maureen about
Yeah.
what's on the plot deed.
And right now, I believe the town administrator is the one doing all the selling, so you might want to ask her too. Because Maureen did purchase hers a while back, and I'm sure she could tell you what's on it.
Who's supposed to be the person selling? Isn't it the town clerk?
I could, don't,
it's supposed to be the sexton, right?
yeah, I'm gonna say, I thought it was supposed to be the trustees.
Oh,
That's why I think it's Naomi that's doing it, because she's helping us out.
right. Yeah.
So I'm putting you on that one to ask.
Yes. Yeah, I'll reach out to Maureen and Naomi about,
Thank you.
is there a contract when purchasing a plot like that? And I'll ask what is actually on the plot deed.
Yeah.
Or the contract, if there is a contract.
You know, yeah.
This says the purchase contract. And then, the other comment I had was back to 289-1 definitions. We do have definitions in the rules and regs, and not all of them are in this chapter, but the one trustees, cemetery trustees, and board of cemetery trustees is in our terms and definitions. So I don't know if you want to cross-reference that back to 289 and say that if there's a conflict with this document, 289 governs, should 289 ever change?
289-1, right?
Yeah.
Well, what document are you referring to?
The one we just did last meeting,
This-
rules and regs.
This says, every municipality should provide or may enter agreements with, in the absence of regulations established by a vote of the legislative body, which I think is the selectmen, the cemetery trustees may establish,
Body's the town.
yeah. Well, it says the cemetery trustees, well, in the absence of regulations established by the vote of the legislative body, the cemetery trustees may establish such regulations pursuant to 289-7. So that's like a home rule statement. You can't conflict with 289.
Right, that's why I was suggesting that we add under the definition of terms that if there is a conflict with 289, 289 would govern. Should 289 ever change, there's no conflict now,
Yep.
but should
Right.
it ever change,
Then you'd have
we
to,
would revert back to what's ever in 289, the changed version.
right.
It's a suggestion, a question, it's not I think we ought to. It's just thorough, but,
No, I think it's the law, so,
yeah, but again, there's no conflict now.
right.
No, but I think it would make sense to reference or put in, you know, the New Hampshire RSA 289,
Fine.
because because the way we have the rules and regulations right now, there's no mention of any of the New Hampshire RSAs. And if you were to put that in there, then I mean,
That would be the,
that would help someone else like that, kind of. I agree with that we need to.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking more about the rules and regulations when we get to that, about format, just format.
Okay. Any more discussion on New Hampshire RSA 289, because we still have 290 to look at?
Yeah, I think we've covered it pretty good.
So we had quite a bit of discussion about who gets the burial permit. And I think that 296 clearly identifies who has responsibility. So, includes that, and this is what's supposed to happen.
Well, that's what jumped out to me there. It's on page 2, and I looked at that and I highlighted it, and I don't know how you enforce that. I understand what it says, and I think it's something good, but it just hasn't happened. I mean,
You said page 2?
yeah, well,
Three.
page 3, I take that back.
Oh,
Yeah,
page
it's
three,
on
okay.
page 3, it's
Still-
296.
290:6.
Still looking at 6, yeah.
Yeah, it's on return. It shall be the duty of every funeral director, next, comma, next of kin is defined in RSA 290:16.
Or agent.
Or designated agent, yeah. Or other person having charge of a burial place who shall receive the permit to complete it and forward it to the town clerk within 6 days after burial.
Right. So the way I interpret this is the funeral director, and just go with that for ease of designation, but it could be the other two, can or designated agent, brings it with them when they're doing the burial. They may give it to the sexton then gives it to the town clerk, or they may give it directly to the town clerk within 6 days. So, in the case of the private cemeteries that we're not responsible for, it still should come to the
It's still
town.
gotta come, right.
Right.
Yeah,
But our sexton could collect it and bring it in.
right.
Mhm.
I did talk with the funeral director in Goffstown this week, and, he's willing to go back, and if we give him a list of all the deaths and where, he'll go back through his records and make a burial permit out for those people that we don't have one for. And then I requested he send them to the town clerk. So, we'll see him Saturday, so we'll give him the list from 2020 through to 24.
But our regulations say, when the service is over, the paperwork, including the burial permit and checks are received from the funeral home or family
Yeah, that
To
would
the
be the
sexton.
sexton would be there,
to the sexton.
right.
Sexton marks, blah, 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 gives the burial permit to the town clerk.
But see,
So
right now,
that
there's no
is-
sexton there.
No sexton in the middle of this one.
Right, I believe though, we could interpret, and maybe have faulty thinking, or other person having charge of a burial place. The
Sexton.
sexton
Yep.
is the other person, so they could collect it,
Hmm? And then
then
get
they
it,
have to bring it into the town clerk.
yep,
If nobody's there to collect it, then
Yeah.
the person who's the funeral home, the next of kin, or designated agent has to get it to the town clerk.
yep.
So they also
may
would
not
have the
happen.
checks, they could send the check in the permit. The town clerk
But
could take care
We've
of
had
it.
no sexton, well, we've had an acting, I mean,
We've had
before,
people trying to fill that role, primarily Naomi,
Yeah.
and she's been at.
but before that,
Yeah. I don't,
there was a gap there of a couple of years that there was nobody. I don't know who did that, like who presided at a funeral for the
No.
town.
I think we're, I think all in agreement that there's a gap in paperwork,
That's,
so.
yeah, and it's probably due to that.
Mm.
So I was only pointing that out from the standpoint, and we talked a lot about it last time we met on how is this supposed to work?
Yep.
I think this clearly tells us how it's supposed to work.
And we're pretty much in line with this.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Somebody has to have charge of the burial place from the town and be there.
Yep.
That's the key. Whether it's a sexton or whether it's a trustee or town administrator, somebody has to be there to take that paperwork and get it to Maureen, town clerk. Because you know that there's always a possibility that that paperwork just doesn't go to the town clerk for some reason.
right.
Well, then the funeral director needs to send it, put it in the mail.
Yeah. Well, and they're one of the bodies, they're one of the people, right?
Yep.
Hopefully they've been doing that.
No, they haven't.
They haven't.
They haven't done
They
any.
just have not been.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I sat in here, and I went through 2024, and there's 4 burial permits, and we had more than four people that were buried for 24, and it was the same for 2023. There was, and Maureen actually went and reached out and got probably 3 of those for 2024, and she penciled in on the bottom, because it's not signed by the sexton or anyone from the town saying, you know, that it was received and what plot it was put in, and she was penciling in what she thought was where they went, like J12 or whatever. And I don't understand why, as long as we've worked with some of these funeral directors like that, why they haven't, knowing that someone hadn't been there from the town, that they just don't,
Well, what we
they
don't
can't mail
know,
them or even call, I mean, you know.
what we don't know is did they give it to a next of kin?
Well, that could be too. When my
We don't know.
father-in-law died, that's what happened. My wife ended up with, she had the burial permit, she took it to the sexton. It wasn't the funeral director, she
Yeah.
did it.
So it could be that,
It could be
They-
multiple, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
might not be that they're at fault here as far as the funeral director goes. I'm not suggesting they are or aren't, it could be other scenarios.
Well, and with
Well,
full,
he's-
full burials look different than a cremation, because I think with some cremations, if you're handed the ashes like that, did somebody, are they still sitting on a mantle or a table, or, you know, at someone's
I
home?
can only tell you what happened 2 years ago. When I picked up the ashes, I did get the death certificate, and it wasn't a burial permit, I don't think, it was a death certificate, and it said that they released the ashes to me.
Yeah, it's a
So in
release.
that case,
Mm.
I don't believe there was a burial permit. It just says,
That's correct.
Yeah.
it just says that I took custody of the ashes.
You would have to go to the town,
Right, now when I wanna bury those ashes, I'm gonna have to go back and say, I need a burial permit.
And where are you gonna get that from?
I think I'm gonna have to go back to the funeral home
Oh,
to start it,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I would
Yeah.
say.
yeah, but what about for the people that just have a cremation done through the New Hampshire Cremation Society? They don't go through the undertaker at all. You have somebody pass away, say at home, or even in a nursing home, they know they're gonna be cremated, so they call the cremation society because they come and pick the body up.
I'm assuming they get some kind of paperwork too.
Yeah, but I don't think that the cremation society gives you a burial permit.
No, but
No.
you,
I didn't get a burial permit.
But you wouldn't go to a undertaker if you didn't deal with the undertaker.
Yeah,
I don't know how
Could
you
go
do
to
it.
the town and get one?
I don't have a clue.
Like, you would have to buy a deed,
Yeah,
and can you then get a permit with that? Does the town issue permits?
I don't think so.
What, for,
Burial?
no,
For,
no,
Has to come, so if you're not having the undertaker take the body to the cremation society to be taken care of, then I don't know how you get the burial permit. I think that's like I don't know.
I know all the cremations we did, we always got a permit, because we'd have always write on it and stuff and bring it over.
But did it always come from the funeral? Direct?
Most people dealt with a funeral home.
Yeah. But they don't have to, I know that, because we just filled some paperwork out. And I know you don't have to deal with they'll come to the house or the nursing home or wherever and pick the body up and just take it. So I don't know how that works.
the permits come from the Division of Vital Records.
Maybe contact Vital Records.
It should be the duty of the funeral director, next of kin,
Next of
designated
kin.
agent, to add to the death record, this is 290-3, to add to the death record the date and place of burial, and having certified the same by hand or other approved methods, to forward it to Division of Vital Records admin or as otherwise noted, and to obtain a permit for burial from the Division of Vital Records Administration.
So maybe that's where you go to Vital Records to get it. And you'd have a copy of the death certificate with you,
You'd have to do that, I think.
yeah. So that's probably how you get it.
I didn't read down the last the last sentence there, but,
Yeah.
okay. So there we go.
I think that's
So now
the,
we know how to do it.
I think that's the first mention of permits.
Yeah.
It's 290:3. And there's emergency ones, the Division of Vital Records, Department of State may issue an emergency permit and an emergency burial permit. In any case in which the town where the death occurred and the town or residence of burial is different, a burial permit shall indicate the actual date of interment where the dead body is stored in the tomb, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So vital records.
Okay.
Yeah, and so in 296, funeral directors, next of kin, whoever does it, like in your case, Janice, it might be a next of kin, no funeral home involved, or a designated agent who shall receive the permit to complete it and forward it to the town clerk. So, everybody needs to get it to the town clerk, however they get it from Vital Records.
Yeah.
Okay. That clears that up a little bit.
A lot.
No permit shall be issued until there has been delivered to the Division of Vital Records a death record completed in accordance with 290:1. And the record of death is supposed to be forwarded to the town clerk as well with the permit. The record of death upon which the permit is issued shall also be forwarded. So both our Excel table of steps plus our narrative are both in alignment with each other. They don't talk about where the permit comes from, but they talk about
That you need to get one.
that, yeah, and it comes from the next of kin or the funeral home director or the agent. So we're good there as far as aligning with 289, 290.
Do we have in those documents that it goes to the town clerk? Typically, that it comes back to the town?
We say the sexton gets it from those people, and the sexton gives it to the town clerk.
It does say that it's delivered to the town clerk.
me just confirm that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we
I think it does.
Yeah.
I've slept since then.
Post burial. Provide the town clerk the completed burial permit.
Awesome.
Sexton.
Thank you for verifying that.
I added within 6 days per RSA 290:6.
Okay.
And you have that in there, but, you know, you ought to probably put in,
Within a time period mentioned by,
but I mean,
Instead of that.
I think you should just say, you know, more detailed information. Look at, look at RSA 289 and RSA 290 and have that in the document. So, and maybe even we can attach that.
so I changed the 6-day reference to just within the time period mentioned by RSA 290. So we don't have to amend this if the 6 days changes to 4.
For whatever, yeah.
There is one other RSA that I'm aware of that covers things related to cemeteries, burial grounds, and gravestones. It's 635, specifically section 6. So it has more to do with interfering or vandalism, but just,
Oh.
you guys would want to know that it's there.
Rules about cemeteries.
Yeah, 635. I think what Terry was trying to say there, that in our rules and regulations like that, that we should just make a reference there, something about, you know, if we want to include RSA 289, 290, and 635. Maybe for further information.
For further
somehow,
information,
yeah.
that's all. I just think it's a state.
I don't think I would include them in our rules and regulations, because if they happen to change, then that means we have to change our rules and regulations all the time if we attach those to that, so I would keep it separate.
So at the beginning of our procedures document, should we just say, these procedures are governed by these RSAs, like at the very
Yeah.
top?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
yeah. And what was the last one that you just said, Janice?
635,
RSA.
it's specifically section 6, 635:6.
That, but I'll print it out.
Is it the whole 635 or just that section?
635:6.
6,
Just that one,
yeah.
colon 6?
6, 7, and 8, I'm sorry.
6 through 8?
6 through 8.
But the whole 635 is,
It is called Criminal Code Unauthorized Entries.
so that, those sections just relate to cemeteries?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just added I'll give everybody a copy, I'll send everybody a copy of this. Just a governing statement. All right.
Any more discussion on RSA's 289, 290, and 635? Now, we'll move on there. The next is old action items. You could pull those up, Tom, because I don't remember all the ones that I had.
Yeah, I have them in the minutes.
Yeah, if you could,
From the last minutes.
from the last minute.
I mean, we could go back further, but I don't know.
No, no, because we've been pretty good about updating and keeping up with our action items like this, and we don't have a lot of carryover of it.
Right, all right.
I had quite a few. I don't remember where I wrote them.
So the rules and regulations, I have action items to update per the 6 bullet points that we came up with, like footnote was added, remove all references, blah, 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 blah. Mike Zinkowitz will confirm the various lot sizes that are available. That's the first one I have.
I haven't done that with Maureen. I did it with the New Hampshire Cemetery Association.
Yeah, and they kind of,
They pretty much said that it's up to
Whatever
the
you
town.
want.
The choice
The town
there
to do it.
of lot sizes and quantity, you know, like caskets and how many urns and
Urns.
everything like that that can be put into each lot or plot like that.
so that's open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Janice had an action item to type up, and she did send it to me, and I have to then do my thing as far as incorporating that with all the other documents that have been changed. And I'll do that this weekend.
I had said last time we got together that maybe, not maybe, that I said that we should put that where the cemetery trustees sign this. But this is actually gonna be something that we hand to somebody, so maybe the
Yeah.
signature goes on a cover page that says, we're approving these rules and regulations dated blah, 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 and those signatures go on that page, and then this document is
That makes
just
sense, yeah.
a give out. So we might wanna have the trustees' approval of that as a separate page. Don't know, just trying to keep things simple.
And I think, too, the other thing is you may want to have the town seal put on
Right.
the town document.
Yeah,
So that's a change that has to be made.
that's a suggestion.
So you put signature blocks at the end of the document,
Right.
right? Yeah.
But maybe you wanna have just a cover page that would be for the signatures saying, we're approving this document that's dated this thing that's
I think
gonna
so.
be a handout.
Yeah, because those go to people that buy lots.
Right.
We just want evidence that the cemetery trustees have approved it.
And the town clerk has accepted it, because they're the keeper of the document.
Okay, it will go in a
Any
file.
document, yeah. Then I did make a few other changes as I was going through it. It seemed like maybe two bullets should be separated because they were really talking about two distinct things, so I pulled those apart. You know,
Added another bullet.
yeah, just did that kind of stuff, and I've highlighted it in the document, but I did it so that it was, because it's not a track change, because it's brand new.
Right.
So I just highlighted all those in yellow so that you could see, this is not exactly what the original said. So we can easily go back and say, nope, we want it to revert, and we'll be able to fix it without trying to,
So it's highlighted in the copy you sent.
yes.
Okay.
I just basically did a yellow highlight on anything like that.
All right, all set with that?
Yep.
Just continuing on.
One of the ones I had there, action item was there to schedule a work session March 19th. We have that, we know that's scheduled from 4 to 6:30 instead of 4 to 7.
Okay,
It's in the
you
conference
did
room.
that, yeah.
And update the plan of work. I'm pretty sure I updated that and sent it out. I was to send out RSA 289 and 290, which I did there because we discussed it tonight.
Yep.
And then I reached out to New Hampshire Cemetery Association about caskets and urns plots.
You got, oh, yeah.
And the other one was, well, then I was supposed to reach out to Maureen about plot sizes, which I haven't done. And I reached out to Dignified cemetery services like that, and it's the one handout that I passed out. This is the list that I got from them, and it only goes back to 2017. And they broke it down into 3 cemeteries. They have Pine Grove, Johnson, and Hillside.
Yeah, I think you want to check
And-
about
And
East
I'll
Ware,
double check and see if they have anything for East Ware.
because my thought on this is, Marge and Clyde Chapman are buried in the East Ware Cemetery, I believe, just as you go in. So I know that that's not right. So I'm thinking that this is a mix maybe of both.
I could see where that might happen though, is when you go over there trying to differentiate
Yeah,
where
I know
between
where it is,
East
but,
and
yeah.
East Ware and Johnson is, when basically they're side by side, and when you look where the sign is for Johnson and then where East Ware, and I could see where they might be confused on that.
Yeah,
So this is what Dignified shows that the activity that they've had in where.
what they've done,
That
what
what
they've
they
done.
have done, where they've been contacted either by the funeral home or by the family like that to come out and provide the services there, the preparation and,
But only as far back as a certain time, right?
17,
as far as, she could go back to 2017. Oh, I thought I gave you one, sorry.
Oh, you didn't give me these because I said no,
Yeah.
but this was a part of it.
All right.
That's fine. Were they the ones that had the computer crash or something? that you
Yes,
lost data?
yes.
Oof.
is the one that, yeah, kinda
That's not
crashed.
good for a cemetery.
So the date that's on here, column B is what? The date the burial took
That
place?
that was the date of the burial.
Okay, what about line 48?
148, Ware Cemetery.
No, this one's coming
It's
up.
Johnson.
So it's scheduled,
You should look at their schedule.
it's scheduled, is that what that means?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
scheduled out like that. I actually, you can go to their calendar and look at their events calendar like that, and they're all over
All over
New
the-
England. Well, they were all the way up in Augusta, Maine. I've seen them up
25
in,
has the same thing?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing, the different places they go, and,
Okay.
So
yeah,
is-
Pine Grove, there's another one there on May 17th.
if the client is Ware Cemeteries, does that mean there's just no funeral home involved?
Woods boy,
Is that what that means?
on the back.
I would suspect there because it's a cremation.
It's
and
mostly-
They may have
it's
gone a
mostly
different direction,
cremations.
yeah.
So hopefully, somebody has a permit. Got it. So,
You know what it is, don't you? I can't think of it.
so in the case of cremations and Ware Cemeteries, this comes from Dignified?
This comes from Dignified.
So if there's no funeral, Dignified's they dig. But for cremations, this means that they dug it. Okay,
They will do the hole or put the urn in.
1 inch, 1 foot square or something.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
and they're scheduled to do the 525.
Yeah, in 517.
Yeah, Pine Grove, the last
Oh,
one is
yeah.
517, and
Yeah,
then
line
Johnson is
25 and
55.
line 48 are to be, they're scheduled out, not to be scheduled, scheduled out.
Why are they,
To be done in the future.
why are these two groups separated?
What two groups?
Well, line 2 through 25, and then 30 through 49,
Pine Grove is
Pine
the
Grove.
first section.
The Pine
Johnson
Grove
and
is
Pine
the
Grove.
first.
Next one,
cemetery separation.
Hillside's on the back.
But see, Johnson, I believe, is Johnson and East Ware. I think it's a combination.
Okay.
Okay, I just see it now.
Yeah, I think so, too.
That's what I think, because I'm positive that,
Yeah, because there's a burial on here that was in
Madge.
East Ware. I see.
I'm positive that they got buried in, these people got buried in the
Oh, yeah.
East Ware for sure.
There's one that just has a first name,
Where's that?
Yeah,
Virginia?
and then 25 is only a last name.
25.
It says, yeah,
Well, that,
line-
that hasn't happened.
Yeah, but,
I know who that is.
yeah, so do I. But line 48 hasn't happened, and it has a first and last name, so,
Well,
I mean,
maybe just somebody wasn't paying attention.
but Virginia, if that's a first name, that's
I don't know who that is.
interesting. I don't know if that's the first or
That's
last.
17, that's back a
I just don't
ways.
know why they would only give us.
Well, I mean, it's a start, I mean, it's.
Yeah, yeah, it's better than nothing.
Well, and knowing that the funeral home is French and Rising like that, then when Sherry and Judy go down to French and Rising, they can take this with them and say, who is this person here? that was-"
Well,
you
she
know.
can look up, she's got,
Oh, she can.
she's got it right there,
It's
that's,
probably in the database that Maureen did. Most likely.
that would have been 6/27/17.
I mean, we know number
I don't
25
see
who
any
that is.
Virginia.
We just don't know 30.
First name or last name, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if that 2017 is in
No, I don't see anything.
Have you got 17 right there?
Yeah,
While they're looking that up, this gives me hope that we're gonna be able to recreate all this, so I hope.
the, most of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that, you know, with Judy and Sherry going to the funeral directors
Yeah,
like
they're
that,
gonna
that we
have
can,
something very
we can
similar.
fill in, you know, more of the blanks like that and take care of it.
yeah.
I just want to look at
So-
17 to see if,
Unfortunately, they didn't put down the lot or anything like that, huh? They didn't have anything like that?
no lot, plot number,
Are you looking
whatever.
at the Virginia one?
Well,
No,
any
no,
of them,
any of
any of
them.
these.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They must have to know what the lot and plot number is.
Yeah, so that they can dig the hole.
We have a permit, right? They should have a, well, town clerk
No,
should have the permit.
no.
Well, she doesn't have them, a lot of them.
No.
That's why we're going the other way, the other direction to try to find them.
This line item 30 is in Maureen's database for the permit from 6/27/2017. There's a full name there.
Okay.
It says Johnson.
The cemetery?
Yep,
Johnson's
so that's a first name, and there's a last name on there.
Okay.
So that's good. And it's a full burial. Date of death 6/20, date of burial 6/27. So there's a permit for that one. And the second one on that list, just, out of curiosity, looking at the next one on line 32, that's in Maureen's database, with that permit database.
32 you're looking at?
Yep. Just going to I just went to the next one,
Did it say if that's full or just why you had it?
It's in the full burial tab,
Okay.
and then the next one is there as well, so it's, Maureen's database is gonna be, I think, pretty accurate.
Seven, six.
Ashley. But the next one is not line 36.
I wonder, 2017.
Judy Davis. That's what I'm thinking. But it's not in here.
I was thinking of Virginia here. There's a Virginia Greer. I don't remember, I don't know when she died.
Well, this is 7/6. She's not listed.
Well, I mean, we can check about burial permits for 17.
Yeah. She's not listed here,
I
though.
have to,
Yeah, I
We
don't
went
know if
around
you
with
guys,
different
you were talking
stuff
about
here.
something else, but Tom did look on Marine's list, and that one is on Marine's permit list, and that one, but not this one. So
No.
I'm
she
finding-
has permits for
I'm
these
finding a
three.
few missing
Okay.
now.
Three,
yeah,
yeah, so we don't,
Yeah.
they're in the documents.
right. Okay,
For those
this one,
top three.
this sounds familiar to me, and I'm thinking East Ware,
Okay.
Rainier, but I'll take a look.
Okay. I didn't know if you heard that or not.
So why would there be, for example, French and Rising has a listing of number 36, let's say, but there's nothing in Maureen's database for that one?
For 36?
Yeah,
Well, she lived in town her whole life, so,
Yeah, see,
She-
very familiar, yeah.
she lived here her whole life. She surely should be something.
but it's not in the burial permit list.
Well, she
No.
would be buried either, probably East Ware, because she lived in East Ware for years.
Yeah,
Well, Johnson Cemetery was in East Ware,
Well,
too.
could
Yeah.
been, but I'm almost thinking that,
Yeah. I'll have to look,
Yeah.
in my records and
yeah, look through your records too.
stuff, yeah.
so that, number 36, that person is not listed in, as a burial or a cremation. So there's gonna be some gaps still.
Yeah, but she definitely is buried over there, either at Johnson or East Ware. We just gotta go over there and look for the headstone. That's what
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
Well, I'll
do.
look at the map
Well,
first
look-
and see
look,
where the
yeah.
lot is,
Right.
Yeah,
instead of hiking around the place.
yeah.
Don't need to get your steps in, do you?
We want, you can tell, she doesn't wanna exercise.
But in Maureen's other file, number 36, I'm just
36?
poking around in a couple here. Maureen has a cemetery deed information, permits in one file, deeds in the other. And number 36, that woman is in the deed list, so,
Yeah.
But she's in the Johnson Cemetery.
in Johnson.
She's
In the deed, it says Johnson?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
But
so,
we don't have a permit,
So J30A, she's got a 10 by 10 that was bought in 1989.
correct?
and
So-
she's in 38, they're buried in East Ware.
That's a cremation?
Yeah. That should be East, I'm pretty sure that should be East Ware. I'm pretty sure.
Looks like they combined Johnson and East Ware.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. That they didn't know the difference. So we need to verify these, so we know which one, where they're buried, which cemetery.
That's listed as Johnson also. J1, 12 by 12 plot, bought in 1989.
So number 38, were they buried together?
38?
Yeah, there's two
Yeah.
people,
There's
two people
cremation.
listed.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
look right here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same
Yeah.
thing. Yep.
it's,
It's just interesting that there's two names on
On what?
what we got from the funeral home, you know?
Well, some people may have waited. I mean,
Yeah, they
a lot of
they
people do
passed
that
away
up at
not
the
too,
veterans
they weren't very
cemeteries.
far, a
They-
few,
Right,
They
yeah,
wait
it
for
was
their
only what?
spouse, and then they put them in together.
4 or 5 months. It wasn't very long.
It was in October.
Mhm.
They did it in October, so. Yeah, each one's a little puzzled.
Yeah, just so you know, on the back side, the second one up at 76, that should read Knox, K-N-O-X.
I saw that.
And if you go up to 73, I know that was a cremation, I went to that funeral. But I can't find, if you go up to where it's, the first 153, I can't find that in the death certificate, in the death records. I don't know if you have anything.
I'll look. Before I do that, I'm in the burial permit
We
file.
would have done that burial in
Those two people-
2017.
You
So
were-
I got the
3 months
records
You've got the
on that.
records at home.
A
And
I'm
couple.
thinking it's Marilyn Davis.
On the other side,
Oh,
ones with the two
well, what
names.
about, where was Judy?
Her name was.
They died,
It's Sedan now.
2 months and
I mean,
and a
her
week from
married
each
name
other.
is Sedan, but.
And so they were buried at the same time.
Yeah, they probably said, let's only do this once. The family.
But what about,
Makes sense.
what about Judy? That would have been about the same time.
Especially if people are elderly or sick.
They were 93 and 95.
Oh my goodness. Bless their hearts.
So Sherry, number 53,
53, yeah.
that's Hillside,
Yeah,
7/6/2017,
yeah.
burial date. There's no date, death, but that is a middle name. But we do have her in the burial permit,
Is there just a first name you can give me?
Marilyn.
Oh, Marilyn.
I was right.
And what's listed
I
here,
remembered,
the name here is the middle name. It's, well, according to this, it's Marilyn Davis.
Okay.
it was Marilyn Sedan, C-E-D-O-N,
That's her.
it's her married name,
Z-E,
D-O-N.
I was just hesitant to say names
yeah, I know.
on,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then if you go down to 57, do you have a first name there?
Oh,
You know,
Bradley?
Bradley.
There's no deed for that person. Okay.
Wouldn't be at the
Yeah,
Hillside,
because it's outside.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it's a private
Oh,
cemetery.
what number again?
57.
57. Because it would have been before Craig. That death.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I thought it'd be nice to put the first name in. Not that I need it, but it's, and I believe that was a full, if that's who it is. I'd have to verify that.
What did you say, first name?
Bradley?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dates don't match. It says 10/19/2018.
Yeah, it's 10/6 here.
It says 10/6 and it says date of death 10/1. So
It was 10/1, I believe,
that is the first name that you mentioned, that's the one.
yeah. I don't think there's any other mistakes there.
All right, but this will be handy for,
Yep.
on March 19th like that, when we do the work session, because we'll take this and we can look at the
Yeah.
maps like that. And we
Yeah.
can start doing some updating, and anything that we can get from the funeral directors will help too, to start filling in all the
Yeah.
blanks that we have left. That we got left to date.
Yeah, this is helpful. And back to the action items, I had Sherry will contact Manchester Memorial asking for the same information. I wrote that in the minutes.
Memorials, monuments,
Monuments, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not right. It was
Yeah.
French and Rising.
yes.
Was it French Horizon?
Yeah, that's who I said, yeah.
Should I change it in the minutes?
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't see that.
That makes sense, because that's what you were doing.
Yeah.
And you're asking for the same thing as Mike got, so, all right, so that was just my mistake.
Well, he said if I could bring the desk, the desk down from where, that he would match it up with what he's got in his file folders. And if he had the name there, that he would write a permit, a burial permit out and send it to the town clerk.
Any other action items, Thomas?
Sorry, no, I don't think so. Yeah, it's just the end of the minutes. Yep.
Okay. All right, next on the list there is new action items. I have, see if there's a purchase contract when purchasing a plot. I'll ask Maureen like that. I'll also find out what the plot deed says. I'll also ask, Naomi the same questions like that. And I'll go back and check with Dignified there as far as their burials, if they have anything that's listed as East Ware Cemetery instead of just Johnson.
Yeah, and
We'll see what their,
they might have not pulled them up.
it could be like
They may
that.
have more.
I had listed, I didn't even list Hillside, but that's what they gave me. I had told them East Ware, Johnson, and Pine Grove, but I'll double check with them to make sure that. So those are three things that I have, or
So-
two things that I have.
Yeah, can you just say those again? Because I don't have those recorded, sorry.
I'm gonna reach out to Maureen and Naomi like that and see if there's a purchase contract when purchasing a plot like that.
I wrote it on
And-
another piece of
and-
paper, but I want to put it in here, and, yeah.
What a plot deed looks like, or what information is provided on a plot deed.
Sample of a current
Current, yeah.
plot deed for review. Okay,
And also, I'm gonna reach out to Dignified about any burials in East Ware Cemetery.
Do you wanna ask them too if they know the lot numbers or something?
If they know lots or plot
Yeah.
numbers or whatever
Right.
been given.
okay. I got my action item to send the documents again. Send all the updated documents out.
And Judy was gonna work on the two cemeteries, Collins and Buxton, was that?
Yes, yep.
To do what?
To look at the deeds. To see what they say, if anything.
Oh, the registry of deeds,
Yep,
not burial, not
Right.
lot
No.
deeds.
yeah, registry of deeds.
Okay. Hillsborough County Registry of Deeds. Yep. To determine ownership. Got it.
Anything else? I think that's as far as action items like that.
Did everything on your,
Yeah, you see, this is some last time.
Next meeting, is it a work session or a regular meeting?
Work session is the next meeting. The work session will be March 19th from 4.
4 to 6:30.
6:30 PM.
Yeah. Same as the last minutes, just changing the time.
Yeah.
Next regular meeting,
Next regular meeting will be April 3rd in the conference room here, starting at 6:30.
it's a Thursday, right?
It's a Thursday, that's correct, Thursday.
6:30. Got it.
Anything else? Any other business?
Oh, about if we want to join that
Oh,
society, if we want to, and if anybody wants to go to that teaching thing, which is this Saturday, the 8th,
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
and I'm going to be at a funeral at noon.
Me too.
that was April 8th.
Oh, it's April, what am I thinking? It's
Yeah,
April.
that's
8th.
right, April, yeah.
April,
It's a Monday.
yeah.
So who is "we" that would join this
We.
association? That's the question.
And what do we get for we joining?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't, I didn't look at the,
I didn't look at it, I just,
There's nothing here other than one benefit of being a member is collaborating with great members.
yeah,
The more we share and work together, the more we all benefit.
that's probably a true statement.
I tried to look at some of the members, there's 32 pages of members. So it's like almost the other town
Well, I was looking at
municipalities,
this-
there's a fair
Just
number
this
of.
printout, the pamphlet thing.
Sherry, was that an email sent to you?
It was,
Sent by you?
Mike.
no, it was sent by me.
Oh, there it is. I got it. New
Yeah.
Hampshire Cemetery Association.
Yep.
But I don't know if I can go on Monday.
And then I think there's a second one called New England Cemetery Association.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was gonna, it was on a weekend for some
I guess
reason.
we could individually join if we wanted to, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, April 8th in Manchester.
Which group is putting on the training? Is it NH or NE?
well, I don't know, except Terry will be down there doing the
It's
training.
their spring meeting, so it's the NH, April 8th. It's just a spring meeting. Is it,
It's a training thing, because she's teaching.
yeah, I mean, looking at this, it doesn't say anything about training, just,
No.
so you know, but,
I only know because she told me. Happened to mention it in conversation.
this was Terry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if it's a Monday, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go, because I have a little girl to put on the bus and to get off.
That's a Tuesday.
Mhm.
April 8th is a Tuesday.
That's correct, yeah, it is Tuesday.
It doesn't say, it says the time on that sheet, Janice?
No, this is just a thing that you mail in to send
For your
dues in.
membership.
Yeah, this doesn't have a time, so. Press.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna be able to go. I was thinking it was like on a Saturday or something, but for some reason.
Well, I guess I would leave it up to individuals if they want to go, they can.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if at least one of us went.
All right. Any other business?
No.
Okay.
No, so at this point, we're not gonna ask the board of trustees to sign us up for anything, just to make sure I understood.
That's correct,
No.
at this time, no.
Okay.
I would have to look at it further like that, see what it says like that before I'd even make a
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yeah,
And it
that's
looks
what
like we
I was
can-
thinking, but I didn't wanna,
It looks like we can sign up at any time like that, so I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
so I can look at it, and before our next meeting like that on the 3rd and say, well, maybe we should do this, maybe we shouldn't like that, so and then
Okay.
we'll go from there, so. All right, if there's any other business like that, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I will make a motion to adjourn at 8:01.
I'll second.
You got a second?
Yep. You?
Yep, all in favor.
Thanks, Mike. Do I have to wait? Another good meeting, Mike?
How do you turn it off?
Just push it.